And we are live. Everyone, welcome to the Season 5 ER Dev Stream. I am your host today. I am the NA Dev, GM, and local Kiara enthusiast, Wendy. And I am going to be hosting today's ER Dev Stream. And we also have a special guest today. Please introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, I'm Ulf1 from the KR Dev stream and it's also the main director for Eternal Return. This is the first time I'm meeting our players around the world from the English-speaking communities, and I deeply thank everyone for making the time to come see our dev stream. Because I'm not a native speaker, Wendy here will be going over the details as the main speaker dev. However, this stream was prepared together by us and a lot of the other devs, and we hope that if it can provide a lot of insight about our current game state and its future. I'll also be here during the Q&A session after, and I will try to answer some questions as well. Once again, thank you all for playing Eternal Return throughout our high and lows.
Thank you, Wolfun. As Wolfun said, Wolfun is our main director for Eternal Return, and he has made a special appearance for also our English-speaking communities as well. Now, since we have a lot to cover for today's stream, we'll jump straight to the PPT, and let's go. Okay. Wait. Wait. Can you hear me? I think my mic's off. Okay. Wait. No. I'm sorry. I thought the mic was off. Okay. Before we start, as you can see, I am very new to broadcasting. This is actually the first time I come on broadcast on any occasion. So please understand if I don't talk very well. I'm very shy in person, so I'm sorry. Okay, now let's start our Eternal Return dev stream. Today's index contains our Season 5 recap, Season 6 features and improvements, deep dive into Cobalt Protocol, and future season features. We will also have a short Q&A section after too, so please look forward to all of that. Now let's start off with our Season 5 recap. One of the biggest changes we had for Season 5 were the team mode changes and the auto-revive system. Although it has been vastly popular in Korea, I have seen that it does have mixed opinions in other regions. We're keeping an eye on it, and we're seeing if there are other ways to improve the system. There's also already some prepared changes that I'll go over today in just a few. We also had the increase in materials patch for Lumia Island. It made farming much more forgiving and also easier to get the materials you need. There's still the issue of being unable to secure materials in areas where a large amount of the lobby has dropped at the start of the game, mostly cemetery for today, for this current meta. But that's going to be also addressed with one of the features of the upcoming Season 6. Active items were also added in Season 5. Unfortunately, we do believe that this was a lackluster change than what we have hoped for. However, because it's only been used by a handful and it's mostly locked behind special materials in team modes. With the upcoming changes to Season 6, getting your hand on special materials will become much more easier than before. And we hope that this could also improve this feature as well. Also, new active effects are also on the way, so keep an eye on that as well. An unexpected impactful change was Pork Chop, creating memorable moments and hilarious situations and cool combos as well. Okay, now for a more serious note, the combat ping removal was also a big change. Also, although we still chant our ABCs when someone third parties in a tournament, if the combat ping was still here, it would have been a much more worse situation than today. Changes to improve this are also planned and will be discussed later on, and about ways on how are we going to counteract or maybe alleviate third partying. Creating from boxes was a good change in helping players not need to drop their whole inventory to craft their save plans. However, we do agree that the UI is still confusing for a lot of our players and sometimes creates situations where the wrong thing is crafted. We're considering some improvements for this as well, and we hope that it may solve the confusion. And no, it's not pre-recorded. I'm doing this live. Okay, kiting improvements were also added recently, and I can say that kiting was improved significantly, but there were also a lot of issues that came with it. Burnus was a clear example in that he buffered when attacking, and 11's double attack is also on the list of awkwardness. We are keeping an eye on this, and we are addressing some, such as the change to Burnus a few patches ago, and we'll continue to monitor this and see how we can improve this as well. Okay, as I said before, automatic revival and team modes were a big change that happened in Season 5. We've gotten a lot of feedback after the team mode changes. The most requested change was the dying part after unlucky revives. Usually you would revive, someone would be next to you, you would die, and although that doesn't happen really often, when it does happen, it feels really, really bad. When hyperlooping, taking a risk is understandable since that decision is making a choice. It's a quick but unstable teleport that you choose instead of walking. However, reviving, on the other hand, can't be chosen and is an action that must be performed. So couple this with only reviving with happier HP and SP, it creates a kind of an unfair scenario. So what we're currently thinking is to provide a small movement buff, just like at the start of the game, so that it's easier to escape unfortunate situations. In long-term goals, prioritizing locations near your allies is also something that we're considering. If you guys keep spamming, I'm gonna get mad. Talk about the dev stream. Okay, now we'll also go to restricted areas, most definitely temporary safe areas. Restricted areas are also something that we'd be keeping an eye on. Before team modes would usually end much more quicker without the revives. But ever since the update, there have been more and more teams reaching the final area due to the auto-revive system. To address this, the temporary restricted area feature will also be making it into team modes. This was originally going to be on the start of preseason, but due to a slight delay, it will be added with the start of Season 6. Although we would like some testing in preseason, the gimmick was already kind of okay in solos, and it's becoming more and more needed in the team modes right now. So yeah, it's going to be added in Season 6. Some improvements to the temporary area will also be shown later this stream, so keep an eye on that. An extra change is the avenue restricted area being larger than before, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Okay, this can somehow be a controversial thing. With team modes gaining traction, character roles are becoming much more important. However, most of the characters that are present now were designed for solos, which means that they mostly can do damage, they have mobility, while also being semi-tanky. So basically, they're all-rounders. With team modes rising, and with also the addition of Cobalt Protocol, there's a lot of buzz surrounding characters with special roles. As you can see on the screen, there's assassins, mages, tank supports. Yeah. So now we reach the question of, so what mode are you going to focus on? The answer to that is that we'll try and take care of all three. The modes, however, started to have distinct characteristics from each other. It may be surprising to our English-speaking communities, but Squads is currently our most played mode. When it reaches the weekends, normal Squads reaches a very big amount of our games. The casual fun that it just provides, it's just too good when you're playing with other friends, and I believe that's the main point of the mode. Duos also showed a lot of success in the competitive scene. Our ERC and ERL are clear examples of that. Usually squads have a lot of downtime in tourneys because fights would happen less because there's less teams across the board. And solos would usually bring the most viewers, but the balance and matchup issues were the most impactful in modes when we do solo tournaments. Duos is most likely the modes that's the sweet spot between the two, and we think that duos may be the way to go when it comes to our competitive scene. All things considered, though, solos is still the most played mode in terms of ranked, and it's still the baseline of which decides your skill level in game. This is the current situation, but it could change as time go on. There's not really a main mode, and we're always flexible on choosing which mode we want to focus on. And for now, we're going to focus on all three. Okay, so now I'm going to show you our rundown on Season 6 about how we're going to do our modes. Solo mode will continue to be the point of balance in Season 6, and other modes will be using the adjustments like before. However, adjustments do have their limits, and team modes do need characters that needs to meet specific roles. For character diversity and positions, they may be new characters coming out in the near future that could fit specific roles such as tanks or supports. This does not mean that we're dropping solo mode characters as a whole, but it just means that there may be characters that can be a bit harder to use in solos. Priya was the most recent example. ERL will continue to be held with duo modes, but this does not mean that solos and squad tourneys are off the table. We recently are having the Season Cup, which was our first tourney in ages, and we'll see how we can expand on that further as we move into Season 6. We can try out duos, maybe if you're really into it, we can try squads, or maybe we can always go with solos as well. Okay, it's time, everyone. Take a deep breath. We're talking about balance. Let's go. Okay, when it comes to balance, the most asked question is, what does Nimble Neuron balance upon? The answer is that stats are the most objective criteria when it comes to balance. But we're always thinking about what we can match, how we can match balancing with stats with the actual balance that players feel. The first thing we look for balance is the top 1,000 stats. Pick rate is especially important. In solo, if a character with a specific weapon type reaches 5.5% pick rate, which is about 1 in 18, that means it averages at least one pick per game. That means it's almost certainly going to get nerfed. If the pick rate is around 4%, we usually look at other stats too, such as win rate and average kills. Usually a win rate of 10% or higher, or an average kill rate of 1.3 or higher, is considered to get a nerf. If the pick rate is around 2%, we use a stricter criteria of 12% win rate and a 1.5 average kill. If it's around 1%, we usually do not nerf the character unless they have extreme stats. Characters with lower than 1% are almost not considered for nerfs. I know this is kind of a info dump, but please understand. Okay, but however, all of these stats are not, there's a catch. These are all based of stats that are gathered for at least 7 days or more. The 3-day stats usually do not have enough data and may provide us with incorrect stats. Currently, out of all the stat and data sites, the site that starts with an A usually provides the most accurate information for our patches. For our hotfixes, we use a much more stricter criteria since we do not immediately have the data available for us. Even if a character is not that high in the top 1,000 stats, they may be nerfed if their stats in gold or lower are particularly high. If a character has an extreme pick rate, high pick rate, or average kill rate in this tiers, it may affect the game in a big way and could be scheduled for nerfs. Team modes are also adjusted with the same idea. The stats we also consider here is the pick rate, but since team modes have team comps and other variables, we take these into consideration compared to solos, so there's a lot more stuff to think about compared to solos. Usually, we try to balance things out with the mode adjustments, but can perform nerfs if the situation is deemed impossible to solve through just mode adjustments. That's what happens. Okay, we talked a lot about nerfs. Now let's talk about buffs. Buffs are actually much more harder than nerfs in general. If a character is too weak, it's bad for the character itself. So they may need buffs or anything. But when a character is too strong, it can maybe negatively affect the game as a whole. So for buffs, we check 6 different stats. This will be the top 1,000 stats for all 3 modes, and also the top 3 the stats for gold or lower for all 3 modes as well. These are the 6 stats that we check for buffs. These are the usual stats that we use for balancing, but there are also other exceptions as well. Immortal stats that are sometimes peculiarly different from other stats. And we sometimes touch on that when there's a long ongoing problem in those stats as well. Average placements and objective control stats are also stuff that we look out for. For duos, the competitive scene is also something that we keep a close eye on. Characters with multiple weapons, like Jackie, are continuously being checked along with other weapon types that are used by a lot of different characters. Okay, now I think we talked about what stats do we usually consider for buffs and nerfs, and it's mostly based on stats. But there's now the question of how we actually buff the characters that are selected. Do we bump their ratios? Do we bump their CC, their damage, their durability? What do we do? When deciding these details, we ultimately do need to take the vision of the original design of the character, what we originally wanted the character to do, into consideration. This vision can be different from what our players are thinking. They may think, why are we encouraging AA playstyle when it should have been AMP? Why could only damage when the issue is CC? When we have a problem or issue of a character, there are times where we directly address the issue or improve or adjust other stuff around it to make it better. Players usually prefer the direct style. However, cutting on this stuff may result in taking away the character's individuality from these characters as well. Balance could become better, but this could result in bland or boring gameplay. You basically can have the same character for all the different. You can have the same play style or power for every character, which is kind of not what we want at the moment. When we change or adjust or improve other stuff, the extreme stats will calm down, but our players could feel that the main problem is still prevalent. So that's why they mostly prefer the direct style. We believe that this is a dilemma in maybe any game that has PvP. There is no wrong answer. It both has its highs and lows. But we understand that it may sometimes not match what the characters are thinking. Get out of my chat, Aesop. Okay, now let's move on. Stats are very helpful in setting us which characters to touch on. However, the amount we decide to buff and nerf is a much, much harder problem. And the point of feedback that we receive when our patches come out. The most feedback that we get is that our buffs or nerfs are either too much or too little. We do keep a close eye on the community since the players are definitely the most knowledgeable about our game. When something is brought up by the community a lot, it may be something that we made a mistake on. In this case, we carefully observe the stats regarding the issue. Whether it be wrong or right, issues provided by the community are stats we tend to focus on. For example, there was a patch this season regarding Adela, in which we nerfed the rapier weapon skill. In this patch, there were a lot of feedback that Adela needs more nerfs. In the patch after that, there were also a lot of feedback about Hyunwoo dodging nerfs. In this case, both characters were under surveillance, and we checked their stats every 30 minutes. Adela's stats returned to normal after the patch, and was concluded without any additional nerfs. In Hyunwoo's case, data regarding him was not that good, but suddenly spiked as soon as he gained access to Windrunner. This led to a nerf to Windrunner while actually buffing Hyunwoo. There are also more recent examples and more spicy ones, the most recent one being Felix. When we were nerfing Felix's stats were really, really good when we nerfed him, and there were a lot of feedback that Felix needed more nerfs than what he got. To tell the truth, Felix's shared cooldowns are programmed as a separate system, so there were some time constraints where we failed to touch on before the patch. There's actually a lot of situations like this in which we want to do a particular change, but we can't due to certain time issues. We're going to talk about this more in a few. The conclusion we reached was the movement speed nerf, which not only damages Felix's combat power, but also his growth during the early stages because he moves much more slower. After the patch, the main talking points were Felix and Laura, and both were on close watch. The stats at first were not good. Felix's stats in lower tiers were returning to normal, and his win rate at midnight was around 3% after the patch, with a average kill rate. And that's when we did it, boys. Pop the champagne. Felix is dead. We did it. Our patches are good. And after that, while checking other things, Felix's stats started to spike around 2 a.m., reaching the hotfix line by noon, and which resulted in the emergency hotfix. And that's where we made the mistake. Laura, on the other hand, still had stats in normal levels around noon, so she was untouched. However, these are examples that we are still keeping close eye on the community feedback, and we are always trying to look if we made mistakes or not. So please voice your opinion if you think something we did is wrong, and we'll always try and listen. Also, I'll talk about augments a bit too. So there is a lot of speculation around augments as well, mostly regarding Diamond Shard and healing factor. This may not be the answer you want, but mostly when an augment is strong, it's mostly because of the characters that's using it currently. So what we try and do is address the characters instead of the augments for now. But we do think that this is an issue caused by the lack of augments that we currently have. So we'll try and include more augments in the future so that we can provide more ways for other characters to touch on these. So yeah, we'll keep a close eye on these, and please give us your feedback on this as well. Okay. Anyway, based on this, there's a lot of variables, and the community was right about Felix. And okay, I'm sorry. Based on this, there's a lot of variables regarding balance. The community was right about Felix, the devs were right about Adela. And there's also special cases like Hyunwoo that needed deeper digging. We'll continue to look carefully at community feedback, so please voice your opinions. However, besides all of these patches, there was one particular patch that we failed on, which was very recent. Here it is. The patch was the 0.56 patch, which included spicy changes such as reload changes, Kathy changes, and Chloe changes. It really pains us to say, but when we saw the patch notes, we were also panicking as well because we were saying, why is this in the patch? And like, what? I don't know what's happening. I guess you can say that it was a certified nimble moron moment. The reason that this happens stems from our current working system and mainly branches. And I'll go through that. This is a rundown of our branches from early April. So if you look at all of these branches, these are all of the branches that we're currently working on. Although it varies at time, Nimble Neuron as a whole works on about 15 branches. It doesn't mean that one person watches all 15 branches, but it means that people in different teams work on different versions. To implement big features that require over 6 months, we have to plan them first. We got to write plans, do modeling, prepare voices. A lot of stuff happens during this time. This usually happens in this part, with the individual developments part. We need to plan it, we got to get the stuff ready, and do it. And after that's mostly prepared, we got our components, we begin to piece them together. For example, when we're releasing Adina, we combine animations, effects, and all these other stuff to slowly make up the character. This is our last chance if you want to change anything major, since it would require a lot of coding. So this is the part where we piece everything together. So it's 0.60, so that's still like a month away, not to mention like 0.63. Finally, when we reach the main focus branches, we begin to code all of the components to ultimately reach the final product. Because of the interactions with our thousands of features and the over 50 character roster, we have a large amount of bugs during this part. And we have to do QA, we have to fix bugs, and prepare all of that stuff. So the branches that are handled here are usually really busy. And after the patch reaches live, the branches are now used to catch bugs that made it to the public, and we use that to fix them. Okay, so what this means is that basically while we're writing the 0.56 patch notes, we're also planning characters that will be released at the end of the year, while also combining future characters such as Estel, which will be released way later, like almost at the end of the season. It kind of seems really scuffed, but this is actually a fairly common practice in gaming. Some project managers dedicate their whole time in organizing all of these stuff. And since Eternal Return is a game that's in a genre with very many characters and also require many updates, there could be more branches than other games too. Okay, this is another example of our current working system. Last time we said we would be slowing down on characters to focus more on other features, but we're still not doing that yet. And this may confuse a lot of our players because it feels like we're not keeping up our point of the bargain. But this is because we're still setting up our schedule to make this happen. And it seems like the boat is finally reaching to arrive at this point. As said earlier, building a character takes a really long time. It takes animations and sounds and all that. We actually have a picture here. And yeah, we have to do planning, we get the concept art, we do the modeling and voice, animation, coding, QA. All of these things take about 7 to 8 months. And yeah, this is a really lot of stuff that we need to take care of. And basically, when we announced that we were pushing characters, we were mostly in the middle of already preparing characters that would be released at the end of season 5. So this is also a reason of our bad balancing for new characters that was recently brought up. Because we touch a lot of these branches, our schedule can go from let's say in one day, we can play test Felix in the morning, then we go to Elena, we go to Priya, then back to Felix. And because of due to shifting in multiple versions, when the bug is found mid QA and is fixed, the character may feel completely different and balanced than what it was yesterday, or maybe even from an earlier playtest that just happened the same day. The bugs in live are, I know there's quite some spicy ones. The bugs are pretty bad, but the things that happen in playtesting is much, much worse. And we do have to fix all of those. There was one time where a skill would burn for your health, there was one time a skill would burn for 100% of your health, so when it touches you, it instantly kills you, and it was really funny, but changing something like that would mean that we would have to balance that skill entirely. So it's just a really hard and frustrating process. However, we have slowed down, and as you can see in our roadmap too, we're finally slowing down on characters. So we believe that we can finally take the time to focus on other stuff and slow down on characters for now. Okay, with improvements, it's also the kind of same thing. There's improvements that we can change with a whiff on our coding sheet, but some things require weeks of coding. The most recent Chloe change and Cathy ground removal were examples that took a lot of time. Changes like this usually pop up since the characters may need a balance adjustment in the first place, or may require some adjustments. This is one of the things that a lot of our internal devs who are actually pretty good at the game are really stressed out about. We can request an improvement or change, and it could turn out to take a long time for it to reach live. There's always feedback that we get saying that we don't even know what the problem is, and then doesn't know what the problem is. But sometimes we do know what it is, but it just takes a long time for us to do it. Chloe and Cathy are also related cases. In the case of Cathy, Cathy's ground was really a powerful tool when she first had it. It gave a lot of power for her as an assassin, creating hard combos for enemies to react to. Cathy at the time was quite the menace, and this change would have helped her decrease her high stats. If this change would have reached it live, it should have been at that time when she was OP. However, time passed and a lot changed for Cathy. We definitely should have checked this beforehand, or at least have made some compensation if we were going to make this change. And we failed to do that, and it's on us. Okay, we're back to the development branches. 0.56 patch was a really hard time for us. We have the kiting changes, which was another brick project for us internally. And we were also preparing the other new features for season 6 as well. We had the preseason update, which I will be showing to you after a few minutes. There was also the ER Pass, which has tons of new content, along with also very tricky payment-related issues. And the recently delayed Cobalt Protocol has also reached our main focus versions. So we'll have to code that, QA that, and get it ready for you all as well. So to sum it up, we were really busy these last few patches. We messed up, and these are all excuses. and we'll do better next time. We're really sorry, and we'll try and improve. Better update coupon right now. Okay. Now that we showed you why it happened, and now we'll try and explain how we'll improve. The changes to the character process is going to help us with our schedule. So we hope to improve the quality of not only our new characters, but we'll also try and improve our other features as well, since we have a much better schedule. We'll also be automating our stats comparing system. And yes, this was all done manually before. It's really sad. But yeah, now we'll hope that we'll be able to automate it in the future so that it will prevent future issues of us wrongly reading stats. And we'll be able to catch on other overperforming characters such as Felix. We'll also be separating our internal teams so that one team can focus on features that are currently live, while the other can also focus on features that will develop on future seasons that can be both better, so that both can be better in quality. Okay. I'm sorry. Now let's talk about bugs. Bugs are also a related issue with our work schedule. It feels like I'm saying this a lot, I'm sorry. But yeah, bugs are also a related issue. We said last time that we'll try and reduce bugs that happens in the game. And actually, it has reduced overall. Like if you see the graph is actually pretty going down. And yeah. However, the issue is that there's some bugs that we can actually fix with a quick hotfix, while others are sometimes very hard for us to solve in a short amount of time. It's really not our intention to cherry pick bugs. This is not happening. It's more of some bugs are hard to fix and some bugs are more easier to fix. This is a problem. So the most recent one was the Shoichi dagger bug and the Bianca coffin bug. The issue with ongoing bugs is that it's hard for us to pinpoint what's actually causing them. It's hard for us to pinpoint what's actually causing them. If we know what it is, if we know what it's causing it, they can be solved relatively easy. For us, it's easier to have 10 bugs that we can easily fix rather than one bug that we can't wrap our heads on. Another question was that, do we even know what bugs are happening after they've been reported? And the answer is yes. When a bug is reported, they are registered into our bug tracking system, BTS for short. And when they're in our system, we try to reproduce these bugs every day by the hundreds. If it's not reproduced, then we have a problem. And the Bianca coffin bug and the most recent weapons through Fog of War, these bugs were the most recent bugs that had issues in us being unable to find a reason behind them. Usually this means we would have to rewrite the entire code, and this can take weeks and months. This happened to our Bianca coffin bug, and we had to rewrite the code several times, and we're really sorry that it happened. We weren't trying to do it, but stuff happens. And also, when we change data or numbers, there's not a really risk of changing them. However, when we touch on stuff like vision, CC, model changes, that's also another issue. The amount of codes that interact with stuff like these are much more wider than just the number change. And these things need a full QA check of the change. The Shoichi dagger selection bug was also a model issue of the dagger, and we were really skeptical about hotfixing it since we do not know what will happen when we hotfix it. It could create other issues, more bigger issues that it could create. So it's really hard for us to decide what bugs we will hotfix, what bugs we will not hotfix, and what bugs we will have to start from scratch. In the end, there's no real magical way on us, solving bugs that we can't wrap our heads up on. It's just that we'll work much more harder to make 4 weeks become 2, 6 weeks become 4. So please continue to report any bugs to our support. We're always listening, and we'll continue and try to fix them to make a better game. Okay, our last topic before we move on to Season 6, and I know this is also a very popular topic, it's optimization. I know a lot of our people would like to know about our optimization status, and I can say it's a work in progress. Due to us pushing a lot of content each patch, the amount of optimization we push for each patch is usually minused out, which makes the game less optimized, even though we are doing improvements. Also, with optimization, our programmers need to go into the core of our game's coding. So This means an inexperienced dev wouldn't likely be able to do stuff like optimization. So we usually have our most experienced programmer handling this one. It's a real difficult one for us to approach, but we'll be increasing the number of people on this project for now. It will be 2+ people being added to optimization. That doesn't mean 2. We're going to add more people, so please don't use that meme. Okay. We also have plans for advanced options for settings. We expect turning Oni shadows off would provide a significant boost for the options, and we'll try and add more options too as we go on. Okay. We also have 2 long-term projects for optimization too. The first will be our Unity engine update to the 2021 version. There's actually quite a big difference between the 2 versions, the one that we have now and the 2021 version. So we do think that it will help us greatly, but it's also a lot of work, and we expect the arrival of the new engine to be pretty buggy. So we hope y'all understand when it actually comes. The update is scheduled to be done within this year, and we hope to push it out soon. We're also planning to include a rendering pipeline called URP, which we think will help us optimize our graphics as well. You can actually see about URP here. As you can see, I'm not a most experienced programmer, so yeah, we're doing stuff like this. Okay. Now that we talked about optimization, that is it for our Season 5 recap. It was quite the long and complex one, and I'm really sorry to info drop all of this to y'all suddenly, but yeah, I hope that this provided a lot of insight about what we're doing, mostly about our balance, our development pipelines, our branches. We hope that cleaned a lot of that up. Okay, now let's move on to Season 6. Season 6 is Lumia Island. Before we go into the actual changes, let's talk about phases. It's basically the early, mid, to late game. Eternal Return can usually be divided into 3 phases. There's the setup phase, where you go around the island to farm. The mid-game phase, where you farm mastery and special materials by going for objectives or killing animals or players. The endgame is played with restricted areas to determine the final survivor. And the setup phase, we think, has actually improved vastly with the material increase patch. The farming became much more easier, and completing your build became much more forgiving. If we increase materials even further, it could feel better, but we don't really think it would provide any significant change at this point. The mid-game phase, however, became much more important, mostly with the addition of objectives. Securing objectives meant that it would guarantee a special material, meaning you will fall further behind if you fail to get these items. And when players start to fall further behind, people have to resort to third partying to the mid to end game. And although third partying is a part of our game, we are a battle royale, third partying is our friend, no one really likes the experience of being jumped mid-fight, and that's something we want to fix. So this kind of flow of gameplay will be greatly changed with the introduction of 3 new features that will be introduced in Season 6. Those are the transfer drones, transfer consoles, and mutants. Let's start with transfer drones. Transfer drones now allow the instant shipment of white materials. This can be done through the craft UI or your saved plan UI as seen here. So if you see this item, if you see this icon, it means that it can be delivered by transfer drones. Although you can't instantly build items with just this system due to there's a set cost on which you gain credits, which I will talk about later on. But you can, in the early game, you'll be able to get at least 1 or 2 items obtained through this system from the start. So how is this going to help? Wait, I'm sorry. Okay. Transfer drones. The drones will instantly grant your item into your inventory. So the original plan was, this is not the GIF I want. Yes, this is the GIF I want. So if you see, the drones will instantly grant your item into your inventory. The original plan was to have the drone fly in from far away, but was replaced in the final stages with the stealth type drone. Here it is, here it is. Oh, you can see it right now. Okay. You may think, white materials, is this gonna change much? But this may actually bring very big changes to the gameplay loop. I'm sure everyone has the experience of missing that one vital item, and you're really stressed. You root back, wasting time. You meet a purple weapon Luke, you die, you turn off the game, you go play another game with 3 lanes and towers. I know that always happens to other people. And with transfer drones, it won't happen now, because even if you were unlucky during the farming phase, you'll have the saving grace of using the system to get the item that you did not get. So basically, this system can also save you from early game misfortunes. Okay. And there's also the upside of being able to skip an area entirely too. Some plans required you to go to a certain area just to pick up 1 or 2 items. But using credits, you'll be able to save a lot of time by actually skipping that area as a whole and getting those items through transfer drones. This could open a lot of diverse routes as well. A lot of our internal testers also came up with very interesting builds utilizing transfer drones, and I'm sure our players will be able to come up with much better builds and much more creative builds when the patch hits Lumia Island. This can also be used in the late game as well. Usually when you get the 4 score in like the end game, sometimes you won't be able to craft anything because most of the areas are closed, and you won't be able to get bandages for auto arms. You can't get the headband for Elysian Halo, and it's kind of stressing. But with this new system, you'll be able to get those items quickly, and you'll be able to upgrade your items even in the late stages of the game when you can't get that specific white material. So yeah, they'll be helping you with your early game as well as your late game too. And now let's talk more about the mid game. This is where the transfer consoles come in, actually. Our second new feature will be transfer consoles. I said that white materials will be delivered through transfer drones, but due to limitations made by the researchers, special materials can only be accessed through transfer consoles. With these, you'll be able to get materials without needing to contest certain objectives or relying on a RNG drop from animals. So as you can see here, there's the slot on which you want to pick. You can pick Tree of Lives, Meteorite, Mithril, VF Blood Pack, Force Core, and even First Aid Kit. So, see? So, yeah. But there's also, this looks really good, and it seems like it's a shop, but it's actually not. There's also a downside for consoles. Transfer consoles will only be available starting from day 2 and will require, and this is important, it will require 20 seconds for the material to be shipped to the location. Meaning during these 20 seconds, this can also be contested by other players too, because the material itself will be granted as a supply box. So if you're not near that place, your supply box is either going to be taken by someone else, or someone could come and fight you for it. Consoles will also be disabled for 1 minute upon usage, so you'll have to show up early to use them too. If other 4 people used it, you can't. So it can be used indefinitely, but there will still be this 1 minute downtime between transfers. So you'll have to plan. You have to plan your route to make it so that the consoles aren't disabled when you arrive to them. There's also only 4 consoles across Lumia Island. The 4 are in Avenue, Hotel, Chapel Church, and Hospital. So you'll have to carefully plan your next move if you want to use them. And also, you will have to plan your credits too, because costs are still being decided, and you'll also get to see them when the patch hits. Now that we talked about transfer drones and transfer consoles, we can now see how exactly can we use these transfer features. We now have a system called credits. Transfer consoles and drones can be used by using credits. Credits can either be gained over time with the day and night cycle. This means day and night cycle change, and this will be your income with the change. But it can also be gained through killing players as well. However, killing players aren't the really most reliable stuff the most reliable source to gather credits. So there also needs to be another reliable source to get credits. And that's where mutants come into play. With the increase of VF density, due to the increased amount of experiments, our animals are starting to get mutated. These animals won't be at the start of the game and will only appear by chance when they're respawning. And they'll also be more powerful too. And the catch is that when you kill a mutated wild animal, it will grant credits. So basically, it will work as a shard system for your special materials. So each time you kill a mutated wild animal, it will add up to your upgrades. Mutants will serve as the middle ground between hunting, it will serve as the middle ground for normal hunting and objectives. They provide a guaranteed resource that will add up for a special material, while also serving as a mini objective due to their power level. Here, you can see all of the cool new animals. Here, you can see bear, stronger bear. Here's Berry, and here's Choco. And you can see all of the new animals. They're pretty cool. They're just chilling. And as you can see, although this rarely happens, you better be careful when you're aggroing 2 mutant bears at once, because as you can see by the health bar, they're pretty strong. You don't want to get killed by wild animals, get minus 10 points in your tournament. Okay, now that we talked about the 3 features, let's talk about the new phases. With the addition of credits and the transfer drones and consoles, it will provide players with a new strategic advantage. You can either use them early to pull off fast or wacky builds, or you can save them up to get a special material later on. Looking for mutants can now also be a strategy, but it'll kind of be hard to rat off of them, because people can think oh, then I can just kill mutants and then I can get upgrades for free by just ratting off of mutants. This will not happen since they're much more powerful, and there's also being the danger of being contested for transfer consoles. So since it will be contested, if you rat it the whole game and someone with much more kills show up, you're basically wasted your credits, because that guy will just come and take the special material. Okay, so now we have diverse options in the mid-game. We have objectives, we have saving credits, rushing, we got the mutants, we got the consoles. We hope that this will be able to provide new fun and interesting strategies coming to Lumia Island in Season 6. Okay, now before we move on, we will have a quick break time. Not yet, but before we have the break time, we're gonna show off some cool new ER Pass stuff. I know all of you are hyped for these. At first, we have the Nikki skin. It will be beach volleyball Nikki, and these skin lines were made due to our character voting that happened last year. Originally, they were planned for Season 7, but since the characters seemed more fit for a summer-style concept, we put more of our soul into it so that we can get it for you more early. Nikki was originally made second place, so it should have been a rare skin. But it's second place, rare skin, still. And we also had the Daniel change to epic, and we thought since Nikki is gonna be a season pack skin, we thought why not? Let's just do an epic skin. So you heard it here first. Nikki will be a epic skin coming to you with the season pack as well. So buy season pack. I will be watching from your walls. Okay, there were three characters that were voted in, but since Nikki made it into the season pack, there was one slot missing. And what better character would be fit for a beach-themed ER pass rather than Daddy Leon? He will be making it into our ER pass and will be the first skin for the ER pass, and we will be a rare skin. And looking ahead at his outfit, I also really want to go on a summer break, and then please give me summer break. I want to go to the beach. Okay, Now, here is our number 3 on the character vote, which is Rio. Okay, so usually pass skins have a uncommon, rare, and epic skin, but this ER pass we will not have any uncommon skins, and all skins will be rare. I mean, the skins that were originally gonna be uncommon will be a rare skin. So both Rio and Leon will become a rare skin. Also, there were some people who were very sad about Rio's skin. Rio getting multiple skins. I will talk about the skin process in a bit. So yeah, I'll talk about that in a few. We're also gonna have another character vote in the summer, so please look forward to that too. And we'll promise we'll deliver more amazing skins. Okay, and our number 1 on our character skin on our character vote, which was Sua, and will be our epic skin, final skin for our season 6 ER pass. It looks, it looks amazing. So make sure to buy the ER pass coming on season 6 with your MP. I'm gonna be watching. I'm gonna be checking your accounts to see if you purchased the ER pass. I see all of your nicknames here. And we got other rewards as well. We got other rewards as well. We got the emotes, we got the tombstones, all of the great stuff. And we have a special good news. We have fixed the bug for the red dot bug for the shopping collection. So even though you don't pick every single item that's come out new, it will not show up red. So that can stop bugging you now. It's a big fix. And there's also gonna be additional rewards after reaching max level of your battle pass. We got a lot of feedback regarding this because after you reach level 100, there's nothing to do, and we would want more rewards. And yes, that is coming. Playing after reaching max level will grant you EP tokens, giving you the opportunity to buy stuff like old emotes from the past. Also, regarding secret shops, the shipping for the last stop should be starting around the next week. We're really sorry for the delay. It's mostly because of COVID, and yeah, the shipping process wasn't that easy. It wasn't very kind to us over the last year. And we will finally be starting the shipping, and we thank you all for waiting for us about this. The secret shop is also coming back with new goodies for this season. We got the cool new mouse pad with the cool new art for season 6. I'm actually gonna buy this too. It looks amazing. And we also got 2 work in progress projects too. Looking at this, I definitely don't know what this is. It may be a new character, I don't know, but we'll get a new sneak peek as the secret shop comes out. And here is our ER Pass wallpaper available for everyone. And please, everyone, prepare for our summer coming to Lumia Island with Season 6. ER Pass, Season Pack, everything's coming. Time to buy. And now we have fun stats for Season 5. We'll go over these real quick. So the most purchased skins will be Dragon Dance Lee Dai Lin, Comfy Bianca, and Midnight Shinobi Yuki. Dragon Dance Island will make her first appearance here, but you'll be seeing her more in the other stats too. The most purchased characters were Laura, Fiora, and Dia. Laura and Dia were new characters, so they were most likely to be most purchased. But Fiora, because of the character price reductions, or it seems like she was quite popular among the new players as well. For skin usage, it may be confusing on what this actually is. This means that how much a character actually uses a skin. So this means that the whole of 81.8% Lee Dai Lin users uses a skin. And there's also Hyejin and Cicella who also made it first and third place for the last season as well. But you can see that Lee Dai Lin made her new appearance here as well. We all know why she's here. Because of that skin, the favorite skin, the popular skin. And also, this is kind of a fun stat, but most of our characters all have a skin usage rate of over 50%. So there are more people using skins than not using skins, which is pretty interesting. And since there's only girls, we also got some boys as well. our Hyunwoo made it first place with 76.4%. We also have Shoichi and Isol coming in at second and third place. Another interesting stat is the chroma skin for the Cadet Hyunwoo, which only had a usage of 0.8%. Now here's the most used skins. This means that how much the skin was used out of the skin pool. So although Lee Dai Lin has three skins, 4 counting the base skin, Dragon Dance Lee Dai Lin was used for 70.1%, which means that 70.1% of Lee Dai Lin players all use Dragon Dance Lee Dai Lin. Yan and Zahir also made second and third place. But these characters only have one skin, so it's more understandable that they have a high skin usage rate. Now, this is also another special stat. Characters that have fished the most. We got our Cook of Lumia Island. We got Shukai. We got our Fisher on third place, Lennox. But Bianca made it into the list as second place. I guess she likes fish and chips. We now know that. That's now a canon part of the lore. We got the weapon with most kills. We got glove, bat, and dual swords. I guess melee was popping off. Yes, ranged characters now have something to say. And finally, we have our Season 5 Meta Golem. If you see something interesting to point from here is that the solo Meta Golem usually have attack speed based items, while squad usually have items from skill amp. The dual one usually had items mostly mixed between attack speed and skill amp. So as I said before, duo seems to be hitting the sweet spot between solo and squad, but we'll be continue to monitor that. Okay. Now with that, we will be moving on to our break and be doing the part 2 for Lumia Island improvements. But before we go, we have our coupon, our 1,200 event MP. You're going to be rich now. We got summer is coming coupon. Everyone, turn on your ER right now. Type in coupon summer is coming to get fat MP. With that note, we'll take a quick break and we'll be seeing you soon. Thank you so much for part 1. Okay, and we are back. I hope you all saw the new video for Season 6 ER Pass. We got skins, we got tombstones, we got the Wicked Sua Nikki skins, we got the Rio skins, we got the Leon skins. So please buy the ER Pass and Season Pack. It pays for my bills, and then it's got to pay me. Please buy them. Okay, now with all of that said, let's move on to our next part of the dev stream. We will be talking about more changes for Lumia Island. We've gone over a lot of big changes, but there's also going to be improvements for our current systems as well, and they're quite the important ones. And yes, we will be having a Season 6 pack, just like in Season 5, available in Season 6. 6,500 MP. Get your MP right now with double MP. Okay, let's talk about temporary safe areas. As I said earlier, the combat ping deletion did help with third partying, but it hasn't been able to completely remove it. And third partying will always be a feature in battle royales, but we're still looking for ways to alleviate it. With the addition of transfer consoles and mutants, it would help us scatter players more across the map, and that will result in less fiestas in specific objectives. But another prominent place in which a lot of third partying happens is the temporary restricted areas. Usually, when two players are fighting on the other side of the temporary restricted areas, the best option for the other person who's in the other side of the map is to just run across and third-party players fighting. When you do this, you usually have the timer, power, and maybe the cooldown advantage as well. So it almost guarantees a win. So currently, players are able to see on their minimap if the area on the other side is having combat or not due to it switching on and off. With the new changes, players will no longer be able to see the opposing restricted areas being turned on and off if they do not have vision of the area. You want to see what's happening? It's now your risk to take. Do you think they're fighting? You have to go there yourself. You have to check out yourself. If you make the big risk and went there and you don't see them fighting, damn, you wasted timer. So there's more stuff to think about in final restricted areas. I mean, temporary safe areas. So keep this in mind, and we hope that this will not encourage third partying in this later stages of the game. Okay, we got flowers and feathers. Flowers are now growing all around Lumia Island, making them easier to access, and feathers can be also gained by killing mutant chickens, so that's more easier too. We believe that providing ways to get flowers and feathers this way, it provides an opportunity to give materials in a more lore-friendly way, and we'll try and introduce more of these interactable ways to gain certain items in the future. Oh, mutant chickens, not just chickens. You got to get that right. Wickline improvements. Wickline improvements, to be honest, aren't really going that well. AI improvements are really tricky for us, and yeah, it's still being pushed. We are on Copium, but we'll do it. However, there will be some other improvements to Wickline too. Wickline will now spawn in 3 different locations based on the current restricted area state. She will also be unable to be aggroed when you hit her at a certain distance, so it's no longer possible to yoink her for long range as well. So that will help. So yeah, that will help other players too. She needs more improvements, and that's a fact. Mostly the AI ones. I know she teleports across your character, and it's really bad. But we'll slowly but surely try and improve her. No, it's not no aggro from ranged attacks. It means that if you're in a certain distance, it will not get aggro. You can still aggro. Okay, this was a kind of an interesting one. This is bushes and sounds of footsteps. So footsteps are something that we've been debating quite a long time. So footsteps create a lot of tension in-game, but it also gives a lot of information. In a game with very limited access to vision, this basically replaced stuff that you can basically gain from vision. However, when it came to actual combat, by hearing the footsteps, you can know exactly what your opponent is trying to do. This results in, even if you enter a bush, your opponent can hear your footsteps, and the opponent will know exactly if you're moving left, you're moving right, whether you're waiting to make a counterattack. So when you're being chased, it was could kind of be strange. So we're trying to reduce the amount of information provided by this. We tried a lot of ways to tweak footsteps. We tried reducing the range of footsteps. We tried removing enemy footsteps entirely. But in the end, we settled on removing footstep sounds in bushes. With this change, you can now more easily trick your opponents with your movements. You can outplay them by going into the bush and coming back out, and can try and prepare for a counterattack as well as juking too. During our playtesting, this was deemed the most fun, but please give your feedback on this because this is something that we're trying out in preseason, and we definitely need your feedback on this. And if after we get all the feedback, we'll try and improve this further. Also, this was a question I kind of got throughout the last patch. With the improvements of our sound system, issues like footsteps sounding like doubling, these stuff, and not very intuitive mechanics such as ghost stepping, a stop, will be removed overall, and we will be replaced into features such as this. Okay, saved plans. With the introduction of transfer drones, we're also trying to shift around the UI for the saved plans section as well. But sadly, we're still in the planning process for this at the moment, so it may take some time, but we're definitely on this, so please look out for this one. Okay. Now let's talk about adding new systems. This is kind of a middle line. So we're gonna have a quick talk about adding new systems. So when we add a new system, it can bring new change to the game and can provide newfound fun to original players as well. But this can also be added as a barrier for new players too. Each time we add a mechanic, it becomes much more harder for new players to get used to it. Recently, we got the chance to talk with a famous developer, thanks to Microsoft. The developer said that the most important thing for a season-based game is to create new fun while removing the unfun from each season, with the emphasis on the removing the unfun part. Each time when we present new features to a NA publisher or other game company, the question we usually get is, okay, it looks cool, but so what's going to be removed in this place? You can't just keep adding stuff. Removing a system is not always the most welcome way for players, so it's really hard for us to remove a system as a whole. There's stuff that was well received, such as the combat ping removal, which greatly reduced third partying. But there were also changes such as closing the food gap or the auto revive stuff as well. This do have mixed feedback, and we are trying to improve it as we go on. Reloads also fall into this category. The whole idea was that we wanted to remove the mechanic to make it easier, and also removing a designated hotkey. However, this was the wrong choice. This was another certified nimble moron moment. We should have considered how much it will make it hard for our original users. We should have taken all of that into consideration, how much it would make it harder for our original users too. So, but yeah, we'll try and stop doing those stuff. With the addition of transfer consoles and drones and Cobalt Protocol, I guess we're all just busy on our own work, and the pressure pressured us out of thinking clearly. When removing something, we'll try and think more hardly on what we'll try and remove, and we'll try and remove the bad and not remove something good, like the reloading stuff. But we do have a new removal change for the next one. And I honestly think a lot of people are going to be happy about this. Let's go. It is the removal of ESD and EBAD. We're getting rid of FlatAmp and EBAD. FlatAmp and EBAD are almost being removed from the game. In the early stages of the game, EBAD and FlatAmp provided content for the players and opened up new builds. But with the coming times, these stats served as a roadblock for us when we're dealing with balance. Like when you say, can we buff skill damage for characters with multi-hit? No, because EBAD exists, and vice versa for FlatAmp also. With Season 6, Flat Amp will be completely removed from the game. Flat Amp is no more. It is no more. You cannot find it inside Lumia Island. While EBAD will remain in the game, but it will be very limited in usage and will also become a unique option. So yes, EBAD is still in the game, but it's going to be really limited. So you won't see scary stuff like that as now. EBAD and Flat Amp defense will also be vastly removed or adjusted as well. And with these big changes, honestly, this should bring a lot of big changes to both roots and balance tiers across the board. And there's going to be a big shakeup. It may bring chaos throughout the preseason, but we do think that this was a change that had to be made. The community wanted it, the devs wanted it, and we're doing it. And it will benefit characters for the coming future. Okay, so we can't just remove stats and do nothing. So with the Flat Amp and EBAD being almost non-existent now, we'll be adding more skill amp ratios to characters now. Previous skills had a lot of AP ratios, which means high AP gave a lot of advantages. However, this created issues in which characters would lose individuality and also led to metas in which tanks would just stack defense and HP regen, and they will ignore every damage in the game, and Magnuses will be swarming the last restricted area. So what we're going to be doing is we'll be adjusting a lot of skills to be reduced in AP ratios, but we're also going to be adding skill amp ratios to existing characters. For example, Adriana's Q will be changed from true damage to skill damage, and it will have a new skill amp ratio while also having her AP ratios decreased. So basically, it's going to be skill damage with amp ratios and AP ratios. MSQ will also have a new skill amp ratio for reduced AP ratio. So we hope that with this change, characters will have more diversity on which builds they choose, and hope that it can create more playstyles in the future too, as we go on. The one thing we are kind of worried about is that skill amp is currently a percentage ratio, which is kind of hard to understand as when we just see it and when we're calculating damage. We are considering changing it to a number-based stat so that it would work similar as ADAP, such as the one in League of Legends. But we'll try and see that. Please give your feedback on this, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, and now we have the item rarity rework, with more special materials being available to players due to the Transfer Console edition. Item rarity is also going to get a rework. In the early parts of the game, stuff like radar were legendary items because they were very hard to craft compared to other items. But now that there are a lot of new special material items and that they can now be normally crafted, almost all of the normally crafted items will be changed into almost all of the normally crafted items will be changed into epic items, while special material items will be boosted into legendary items. Following this, there's also going to be huge adjustments in stats regarding this as well. So also keep a lookout on those big changes as well. We're going to have a big shakeup with all of these changes. So prepare for a very chaotic but fun Season 6. Now, this one's kind of interesting. These are traps. Traps are kind of in a niche spot right now. They're currently only being used by a select number of players, and the recipes are also pretty hard to memorize. The current plans for traps is trying to make it easier to craft while also providing special gimmicks for each trap. This one was a kind of a long one coming, but Clink Clatters will have a special gimmick of creating a ping on the map, whether it's being stepped on, but also when it's being installed. So you can either create a false ping yourself to lure enemies to you, or you can make your enemies step on Clink Clatters so you can know where they are. Gimmicks are something that can be hard to balance. We haven't really decided on all of the gimmicks as well. And we do not want to have traps. We do not want traps to be a must-have for combat. So if you don't have traps, you just instantly lose the game. We do not want this. So we'll continue to monitor it and plan this thoroughly. Can it make a funny noise too? Our director is listening, so I'll relay that. Can clink clatters have a fun noise when it's triggered?
Maybe later.
Maybe later. Okay, now let's go on to the number of players. This one's kind of a tricky one. This is always a very important question. How many players would it make it to be most exciting to play on Lumia Island? Would it be more players, less players? Is always the question. Regarding this, we'll be adding the varying test subject feature. And this is actually a long requested feature for an NA, EU, SA ranked. Basically, if matching becomes too longer, the game will start at 15 people. Yeah, this was one that you really wanted. It will start with 15 people if the matchmaking becomes too long. This was quite the requested feature in English-speaking regions due to our current state of matchmaking. And it's finally here. We don't know how much it will change matchmaking, but we're trying it out. So get ready to spam 14-15 instead of 17-18. However, there are some bad news. The exact timeline is not set, but we do want to put it in during season 6 because this requires some coding, so we're not really sure. But we want to do it within season 6. We definitely want to do it within season 6. Oh, for duos, this is for all modes. So we're going to tweak each mode specifically to start with less players if the matching becomes too long. 14-15 was a example. So yeah, it's going to be like that. And we want to do it within season 6, but even if it's late, we'll do it within season 7 at the latest. Okay, now this is a visual update time. We're going to look at Lumia Island's visual updates. Visual updates might be a bit scary because of optimization, but rest assured, this will bring an increasing quality while also decreasing optimization overload, so it's a good change. However, due to Cobalt Protocol, there's not that much changes compared to last time, so let's just have a look at them. We got the Pond Bridge getting an arc. Yes, best change in the whole season. It will also have signs that you will never see because it's a top-down view game. We also have Cemetery. Texture updates. Best change in the game. We also made this running down house into. We made it worse. It's more broken now, fit for a battle royale. We got the entrance to Cemetery. It has a sign now. Best change. And we got fences, walls for cemeteries too. So Lumia Island is now a completely different place. We did it, boys. Okay, now that's over. Let's go on to the new characters. I'm sure you've already all seen the concept arts, but let's go over them quickly. We got the ruthless aggression character, Marcus. He's our newest axe user, and he looks pretty bulky. I also know he's the savior of Eternal Return. When Marcus comes out, we're going to have ranked 24/7, so prepare for that one. And we also got Carla. Carla was also introduced. She's got the new harpoon crossbow, so she's going to use that to catch some big fish. Looks pretty cool too. Probably one of my favorites. There's also our newest character that was revealed yesterday. It's Estelle, the new firefighter type character. She also is an axe user, but also has that shield. So maybe she's gonna use some tanky moves to show off in Lumia Island. And last but not least, we have Piolo. Yes, the name is gonna be Piolo. EU in-houses can cry all they want. The name is gonna be Piolo, and he will be our newest nunchaku user. And he looks pretty cool. Do not hate on Piolo, guys. No, it's not Piolo. Okay, let's go. Now let's move on to the new skins. Piccolo. I'm sorry. Okay, new skins. We got Spirit Hunter Aiden. Pretty cool. Spirit Hunter is already a very popular skin line. We got my personal favorite. We have Jailhouse Phantom Laura. You can the piece of bread can now show off in style when he dominates in EU tourney in the season end cup coming this week finals this week on Nimble Neuron channel. We got Street Atelier Tia. She looks pretty cute in this one. And the paintbrush is actually really cute. We got Lumia Land Felix, who works at an amusement park. Maybe that's the new part-time job that Felix found. There's also Eternity's Blossom Priya. Priya, please give some love to our girl Priya. Please. Okay. And we have Green Adina. Yes, you have Green Adina, and she's going to be Fate's Arcana Adina. We also have Black Swan Elena. We're also giving love to our skater Elena too. And we got Marcus's new skin. He's already showing off that grip. He's not even out yet, and I can already see that he's going to be the savior of ER. Yes, we're getting ranked 24/7. There's also the new lifeguard skin for Carla too, right down her alley. We also got the summer-themed Magnus. It's not Bikini Magnus, but this will do. He's got that cool summer vibe thing. So, and he's also got the new green motorcycle. So let's go. We also got Esto's new skin. She looks blue in this rather than red. So look forward to this too. I also saw that Esto was pretty popular among the English-speaking regions. So keep a good eye on her too. We also got Piolo's new skin. And Piolo's new skin is actually very special. Piolo's new skin will actually be released with the character. So he will be the first character who is also going to get a skin on release. So this was always requested, I think it was when we first announced skins, but it's finally happening. So we hope that we'll be able to do stuff like this in the future as well. We got Exterminator Adriana. We hope that her exterminating skills can also get rid of our bugs in game. And okay, this one's kind of a long one. This one we'll be talking about our state of skins. A lot of you may be wondering why Rio suddenly got a lot of skins and why is Aya not getting a skin that fast. First, it's not because NN likes a specific character. We love all of our characters equally, mostly because, as we showed you, each character takes up to 7 to 8 months. It takes an extremely long time and effort to create each character. We just cannot love a specific character and do not like another because these are all characters that we created through our hard work, and we all love all of our characters. Also, the process of making skins is really complicated. Usually, the dev team plans skins for characters that did not have a skin for the longest time, being it Aya for right now. The art team then looks at the plans and speculates if they'll turn out pretty when we reach the end. The business team prefers characters that are popular should be the ones that should get the skins. This is because usually a popular skin will sell over more than 20 times than an unpopular skin. That's actually a pretty big amount. And being a game company, we are still a company, so we can't ignore all of these requests. But we always are in discussions to get skins to all of our lovable characters. The ER pass, it also comes into play because since we have to match concepts, certain characters may end up taking slots. Leon, because he's our cool surfing guy, made it into our beach ER pass. So some stuff like that can also be taken into consideration when we pick skins. There's also the issue of external reasons. Having skins with short release terms like Rio are 100% bad. No one wants this, even the business team, dev team, art team, no one wants this to happen. This also happened before with Yuki when we released Midnight Shinobi Yuki because this was part of our events with Microsoft, and that ended up resulting in that schedule. Skins are also sometimes outsourced. I think I talked about this before, but yes, our skins are sometimes outsourced and we can run into unexpected issues. It can be from size, quality, anything that can be an issue. That can result in a retake, or the project can be dropped entirely based on the issue. The skins that we already showed you are mostly the ones that we can surely finish, like we can deliver 100%. And there's also, so that means there's also a lot of other skins that are being prepared behind the scenes too. The Aya skin here in particular is one of those unfortunate ones. As you can see, the concept art is using the old logo, meaning that she was set to release way before, maybe even last year, but like various issues got into the way. This skin is currently scheduled for August 25th, but we can't really make any promises since it's close to season 7. Things could be shifted, but yeah. We hope that this kind of gave an insight of our skin situation, and we're really sorry for all of the players waiting, especially the Aya players who've been waiting almost over a year, and we'll try and not disappoint on this one. Okay, now we get to see a deep dive of our delayed but will be fun Season 6 Cobalt Protocol, which will be coming in just a month. Let's go. Cobalt Protocol will be a 4-on-4 battle arena type mode. And I know this part was controversial, but yes, the game is random pick, but it's not totally random. It's a semi-random pick style. I'll try and explain this. Upon game start, all players will be assigned one character, but can also choose a character from the shared character pool in the middle, meaning you can swap out characters with your current one with your other teammates. So basically, you will be gaining access to 8 characters per team. So this will be happening in the first round, but there's also another catch. There's a second part of the picking phase. The selection pool you see here now in the second part will be replaced with your opponent's team's pool. That means you'll be gaining 4 new characters to access from your opponent. So basically, you'll be gaining access to 12 characters in total, which is almost 1/5 of the entire roster, which gives you a lot of choosing points. So when you choose your characters, not only do you want to choose the ones you want, you also need to think about what you don't want to give away to your opponent team. And you also get to choose from a pretty large pool, so you have more control on what you want to. For the augment section, you can see here, you can't really pick the sub-augments. You rather pick a core augment from one of these. And for sub-augments, there are special stuff called infusions that can also be purchased in-game, and let's look at those too. Let's go. So for items, as you know, there is no crafting in Cobalt Protocol. And instead, you go through a draft and get to choose from 3 options from each of the slots. If you see here, there's two items and 1 random slot. So basically, you can choose from one of these 2 options, or you can choose the random item if you do not want either of the 2 options. Choosing the random option will also give you additional credits, so that will be able to use for more infusions. Infusions will serve as kind of a sub-augment, but they are much more powerful than sub-augments. They're really variable in effects. There's stuff that knocks back your opponent. There's stuff that increases your movement speed, airborne, all of that other stuff. And you'll all get to see that when Cobalt Protocol comes out. Okay, here's a quick top-down view of the map. It looks kind of empty now, but this is because there aren't the objectives spawned yet. So when you move into game, it will look more sleeker and more slick and a more laboratory-themed style rather than Lumia Island, which is post-apocalyptic. Map size. The map size is about the same size as archery range and school put together. When the game starts, the lab will be divided into 2 parts. So it will basically be a 2-on-2 mode for phase 1. So 2 players, 2 players, 2 players, 2 players. So it will be a 2-on-2 mode for phase 1. This wall in between cannot be crossed by any means. So phase 1 will definitely, you'll definitely need to fight the opponent team, and you cannot meet up with your other teammates. Phase 1 will be about capturing the AMP device between the 2 teams. This device will grant points along with a combat buff. Since this buff is also provided to your teammates across the map, you can help each other by getting this device. If you want to see it on the map, the AMP device will be here in the middle of phase 1 maps. So you'll be able to fight 2-on-2, basically contesting this objective. There's also going to be a team turret at the corner of each map. This will be serving as the team's resting spot. You regen HP and SP while also getting protection by your turret and sitting under your turret. However, sitting under your turret does not grant you any points. So you're going to have to go out and fight if you want to win. If you see here, your turrets will be on each corner. So these will be your resting spots for each corner as well. And we'll have each turrets. Heal packs are also scattered around the map, so you can get those when you're in a pinch. So as you can see in this clip here, you'll be fighting over this small objective here on 2-on-2. Okay, see here. Okay, now here's a special look at the amp device. The device is called Resonance Amplification Turbine, but we'll call them amp device for short. There are 3 total on the map, the third one being locked off in the middle for... Oh, it's rat. It's actually rat. That's brilliant. We'll call it rat. Okay, so there's going to be 3 rats on the map. If you see here, 1 rat here, 1 rat here, and 1 in the middle. So yeah, you'll basically have to rat jam to get these objectives and win. Okay. Now we move on to phase 2. Now that the wall in the middle has been lifted, you'll now be able to meet your other teammates. This will make the 2-on-2 mode into a 4-on-4 mode, and you'll also be contesting the third rat as well in the middle. So in phase 2, you'll be contesting all of these 3 objectives with your team 4-on-4, and you can either do this or try and go farm other objectives, bigger objectives like androids, which will be boss androids, which will give you much more other points than just taking care of the rats. Also, as we reach phase 3 and 4, when phase 2 ends, a powerful android called Gamma takes the stage. Just by looking at it, you can feel its sheer power. With the start of phase 3, you will no longer gain points, and your current points will become your team's HP. So basically, all of your points that you have gathered throughout phase 1 and phase 2 will be your final team's HP. So from now on, your goal now is to deplete your enemy of points. This can be done by taking objectives, killing your opponents, or taking Gamma. Gamma will actually give a pretty significant point reduction, so it's definitely the objective to look out for. And whichever team reaches 0 loses. It's pretty simple enough. So you take control of rats, you go after objectives, you kill opponents, one team reaches 0, you win. This can be, yeah. If no other team reaches 0 before phase 3 ends, the game will enter a sudden death mode called phase 4, and whichever team gets the golden kill, the first kill during phase 4, will automatically win the game. It's kind of a overtime mechanic. Okay, and here is our briefing room. Our briefing room is basically your headquarters for your team. When you die, you'll be returned here. You'll be granted the option to gain a small shield boost on your next combat, or also be able to gain infusions while you're dead. Here's a more detailed look of the briefing room. And okay. And here's a quick picture of the Hyperloop system. When you're inside the briefing room, you'll be able to deploy loops into basically one of your turrets, one of your allied turrets. So as you can see here, there's this blue circle here. You'll be able to Hyperloop here upon dying and returning to the briefing room. This one is a special look at our infusion shop. It's actually not a shop, but we call it shop. It's more of a high-tech thingamajig, but yeah, we'll call it infusion shop for now. This can be used to purchase infusions and also item upgrades, like force core upgrades, to greatly improve your combat in the later stages of the game. Vending machine, yes. 3D printer, yes. Here's some other small features in Cobalt Protocol. We got small drones, which gives you credits, and also, along with credits, all of the animals on Cobalt Protocol will be mutants, so they will also be giving you XP and heal packs too. We also got futuristic holograms instead of bushes, because it's kind of weird to have bushes in laboratories. So yeah, we'll be having these vision-blocking holographic holograms instead. And this one's pretty fun. This one are jump pads, and you'll be able to use this to be launched onto other locations of the map. It works mostly like pork chop, but there's a catch to this jump pad too. When you ride this jump pad, it means that all of the other test subjects or stuff on the jump pad can be moved too. So if you're on the jump pad with another enemy, the jump pad will launch both you and your enemy to the other location. So it can kind of create some awkward spots when you're launched together. It's a blast cone. Yes, I guess you can say that, but this one's always going to be there. So it's like a semi-blast cone. Yeah. Okay, we also have 2 exclusive Cobalt active item effects. The one in the clip will be showing you one. This will provide a small movement speed boost and will deal damage to the first enemy hit. And I think that's it with Cobalt Protocol. I hope you guys all enjoyed Cobalt Protocol because like this one took a lot of work, and a deathmatch mode was really one that a lot of people wanted. So we hope that we would be able to make up to your expectations for this mode. The delay was also to like try to give you guys the best product possible, and we'll try and do that with this too. I'm sorry, I'm getting tired. My voice is dying. Okay, now this will be our final maybe topic of our dev stream. It's going to be our features for season 7 and after. We got the escape mechanic. So one of our biggest systems in season 7 that we're hoping to aiming for is the escape mechanic. This is kind of different from the hacking mechanic that everyone wants to see. Eternal Return is a battle royale. So basically one player wins the whole game. And even though we add other features, this is not going to change in a battle royale. So there's situations where you're too far behind and you think that you can't win. So basically, your only option is to third party or rat. To alleviate this, we're gonna be trying to add the escape option. So basically, players will be able to craft a specific item and use it to escape Lumia Island. And with the escape Lumia Island, they will end the game on an escape, and they will not gain any points from the game. However, they will they will gain points, but they will gain less points than they have gained when they won. But since there will be no minus points when you were supposed to lose points, it could be a saving grace mechanic rather than a point gaining mechanic. No, it's the rage quit mechanic. We'll see how it turns out. It's still in early development, so we'll see how it works out. We'll try and see how it goes, and yeah, all of this stuff that's presented in this part is still really under development, so we're trying to plan it out. Okay, we hope that So the main reason for this one is we want to try and reduce third partying, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, now that we got through with escaping, let's move on to hacking. Hacking is, I think, one of the most requested mechanics in the whole game, but like hacking still has its dilemmas. Hacking is hard. Basically, it's a non-combat playstyle, and you run around the map getting items to win the game. So basically, it's winning with ratting. And although it can be fun, it may not be fun to fight against. So it's really hard for us to kind of plan on how this is work, because we'll probably have to make a small game inside our already existing game. But since we have a lot of new features stemming from Cobalt Protocol, such as the Gamma Bot and the other objectives from maybe the upcoming Escape, we'll see if that can be added to our hacking improvements. Oh, and I forgot to mention this. There's quite a lot of speculation of our yet-to-be-released characters. I was going to mention this with the skins, but there's 2 characters that haven't been released yet. They are Arda and JP. We have not forgotten about these characters, and they will be coming to the game in the future. So yes, Arda and JP is alive. Yes. However, Rosalio, we do not have plans to add Rosalio to Eternal Return as for now. Lore. Now, scenario. I know that a lot of people want lore in Eternal Return because we had a really interesting lore. We had a lot of interesting lore in our other game, and people want that in our game too. although we won't be able to bring the scenario exactly from the previous game, we did set up another special scenario team, and we will be rebooting the previous world. So we will basically be starting from scratch with world building, and we'll be providing you with a rebooted scenario. This may seem kind of worrying for our original fans, and there were a lot of other examples of reboots failing. But since we have our new scenario team, we can't really. It's a stuff that we just can't get around, and we'll try and make it as up to par, as up to your expectations. And yeah, these scenarios, we'll keep working on them. It will be reaching Eternal Return in maybe season 7, maybe season 8. We'll see, but yeah, we will be still working on this. Also, it's not going to change the game from scratch starting from tomorrow, since we'll have to plan these, and since making a single character costs like 7 to 8 months, this can also be very costly in time. So we'll see how it happens, but it's something that everyone asked us, what are we going to do about scenario lore? But let's just say we're working on it. We know that it's an issue, and we know that it's something that our community wants, and we are having an eye on it. Okay, now here are some images that are still in development. These have no confirmed date for release, but these are some concept arts that we want to show you off. Let's show you off first. This one is the briefing room, which will be shown at the start of the game, which will be more, it will give you more of the feel of actually being inside our cool Lumia island. But, this doesn't really affect our gameplay a lot, so it's keeping pushed. We'll see when we'll release it, and we'll try and maybe it'll see the light of day, maybe not, but we'll see how it goes. The research center in the middle of the map, that one's still under development. We also want to see how it goes. We don't have anything planned for now, but since we're having the updates to our lore, our new systems from Cobalt Protocol, I guess we can come up with some interesting ways to utilize the research center as well. Also, this one's kind of fun. I heard some of the people got the pleasure in seeing this in the PAX build, but there are some special features like Yuki using his ult and flower petals floating around. This will only be shown to the player, him or herself, but although it's not being shown to other players, this can give you the feel of actually using a powerful mechanic. So this may be reaching us soon, or maybe not. We'll see, too. Also, this is the last one. We got the victory screen. This is also in development. We know that our character models are super cool, and we always want a cool way of showing that off. We have our shorts on YouTube. We always post stuff on our Twitter, and we always want to show off our characters. So having a cool victory screen like this will also be very cool in the future. But as you know, it's still under development, and it's still in planning. We'll see how it goes. Okay, that's everything prepared for our dev stream today. Oh, wait. For our dev stream today. Now we'll move on to our Q&A section. I'm really sorry for the voice cracks and not that good talking. It was my first broadcast, but thank you all for sticking here and listening to me. And now we will have me and Wolf1 answering questions. So why don't you ask away? Where's my windy announcement pack in season 7? The director's listening, so I hope I get my announcement pack.
Do you want? Do you want?
Yes.
Okay. Let's
okay, we're getting windy announcement pack in season 7. It's confirmed by Wolf1. Oh! Okay, let's see. Any questions? I'm sorry. When can we expect new news on Marcus? When can we expect news on Marcus? since he's going to be released later in the month. Yeah, we'll be able to see Marcus's skill as like the same as before. It will be like 1 or 2 weeks earlier to his release. So let's do it. When will Eternal Return manga come out into my local Barnes and Nobles? I'm writing my Eternal Return fanfic, so it will be reaching your bookstore soon. How many credits do you start with?
처음에는 0일 거고요. 보통 루트를 도는 동안, 그러니까 6개 아이템을 만드는 동안 한두 개 정도의 하얀색 재료를 구할 수 있을 겁니다.
So for credits, you'll start with 0, but as you move on through building your first save plans, you will get enough credits to get your 1 or 2 white materials. The prices aren't really set yet, so you'll get to see that when the patch hits. I'm sorry, this is my first time, so I can't really read. Any plans for reworks for old kits?
이제 characters?
Yes, reworks.
네, 우리도 하고 싶은데 지금은 캐릭터나 스킨을 만드는 과정들이 리워크가 스킬 리워크인 거죠. 그 전면적인 리워크는 피오라 케이스처럼 기존 플레이어들이 매우 좀 이제 같은 캐릭터라고 못 느끼는 경우들이 많아서 전면적인 리워크는 당분간 중단한 상태인데 하나의 스킬 한두 개의 스킬 정도를 이제 좀 개선하는 다시 만드는 작업들은 다시 좀 시작해 볼 생각입니다.
So we are trying to stop on changing a whole character's kit because sometimes it feels like when we rework the whole character, it doesn't feel the same as the old character. So it basically becomes a new character. So we're trying to stop on that for now, but we will try and improve 1 or 2 skills in the character's kit to improve it rather than change it completely. Sorry. Can we get more things to use A coins outside of characters?
지금은 A 코인이 뉴 플레이어들은 A 코인이 부족해서 이제 캐릭터를 못 산다라는 부분들도 있어서 A 코인 같은 경우는 좀 극단적으로 나뉘는 것 같아요. 많은 부족한 플레이어들과 이제 너무 넘쳐난다. 저도 이제 A 코인 넘쳐나는데 네. 나중에 계속 만들긴 할 텐데 지금 당장에는 저희가 컨텐츠를 만드는 속도가 겨우 따라가고 있는 중이어서 이번에 ER 패스에서 100레벨 이상 됐을 때 이제 좀 얻을 수 있는 것들이 들어가는데 그런 식으로 좀 비슷한 형태로 A코인도 이제 랜덤박스 A코인을 할 수 있는 랜덤박스들을 미래에는 계획하고 있습니다.
So currently in our development pipeline, it's kind of hard to put in more places to use A-coins. And also there's a big difference between our new players having 2 less A-coins to buy characters, while our original players have a lot of A-coins that they do not know where to use. Although we'll still have to look into it, maybe we'll try and plan a A-coin random box system and include emotes from the past, like we are doing with the new EP tokens for the ER pass. We'll try and do stuff like that in the future, and we'll see how it goes. Can we get more augment slots?
네, 그 부분은 그동안 좀 서버 작업들을 해야 돼서 지연되고 있었는데 이번 시즌 중에 늘어날 것 같습니다.
Augment slots usually it requires some changes to our server, but it's being done, so we expect to get more augment slots in season 6. Woo! Are there any plans to advertise advertise the game more. Actually, we are trying to reach our English-speaking communities more. As you can see, we're having new tournaments. We recently went to PAX East to meet our new players there as well. And we believe that our partnership with Gen G would help us reach a large audience of game-loving people. So we hope that will be able to get more of our fellow players to get to play Eternal Return 2. And yeah, I hope that will happen. Season End Cup coming this week, finals on Nimble Neuron channel. Did you have plans to add more weapons to existing characters?
네, 이 부분은 다시 이제 작업을 그러니까 그동안은 저희가 이제 어떤 하나의 무기를 도저히 쓸 수 없는 그런 밸런스 문제로 못 하고 있었는데 이제는 캐릭터별 무기별로 그 숙련도를 다르게 줄 수 있게 되면서 다시 작업을 시작했습니다. 근데 그 작업 과정이 좀 오래 걸리기 때문에 아마 시즌 6 후반부나 시즌 7부터 하나씩 추가되기 시작할 것 같습니다.
Okay, so the answer is yes. We are trying to plan to add more weapons to existing characters. It was previously very hard for us to do it since we weren't able to individually tweak the weapon mastery for each character. But since now that's in, we will try and to consider that more. But it does require a lot of testing, planning, and maybe balance testing. So we expect it to be late season 6 or maybe season 7 as well.
그 밸런스 테스팅 때문은 아니고 애니메이션을 다시 만들어야 돼서
Animation.
그래서 그 리소스 아트적인 이유로 좀 시간이 많이 걸립니다.
I'm sorry, cross that out. It's mostly because of our animation and art process. So that's as you saw in our PowerPoint, that takes a lot of time. So yeah. Maybe season 6 end or season 7, we'll see. Will there be more servers for Eternal Return?
More server means HK or
Yes.
area. Yeah, we hope so. 사람들이 그러니까 코발트를 기점으로 저희가 아직은 뉴 플레이어들이 왔을 때 좀 어려움을 겪을 수 있는 부분들이 많은데 코발트까지 들어가고 나면 그런 부분들이 좀 많이 개선될 수 있을 것 같고 그때 좀 더 사람이 늘어나면은 그 확장을 좀 할 수 있지 않을까라고 생각을 하고 있습니다.
Okay, the issue is that it's really hard for us now, but we hope that we'll be able to increase more servers. And on the upside, like since we have new mechanics that will help new players, such as the Cobalt Protocol, which will help new players get more into Eternal Return as a whole. Maybe we will be, if we get enough audience that we want to, we will be able to expand our branches to future other servers as well. Okay, I'll answer this one. How does NN take advice from non-Korea feedback? The stuff is that we definitely look at feedback from all of our other English-speaking regions, other language-speaking regions. It's just that that we're a Korean company and it's very hard for us to exactly get all of this feedback to the people they need. It takes a lot of time for us to do that, but we surely want to do that. Like stuff like the matchmaking changes and stuff like these were communicated a very long time. And as you can see from our development pipeline, even though they have been communicated internally, it may take a lot of time for them to actually be shown to the day of light to our English-speaking region. So the short answer is yes, we are looking at all of your feedback. We want to improve it. We want to make matchmaking better. We want to make everything better for you also. We're not just focusing on Korea, and we'll try and make it happen.
저희 팀 모두가 모두가 다 영어 피드백을 읽을 수는 없지만 그래도 저희 내부에서도 저도 이제 스피킹은 잘 몰라도 이렇게 읽을 수는 있고 그리고 더 많이 보고 더 많이 듣고 싶어서 오늘 이 자리에 나왔고요. 앞으로는 더 좀 더 이제 그런 커뮤니케이션을 할 수 있는 모습들을 보여드리도록 하겠습니다. 네.
Yeah. As Wolfun said, Wolfun is also here to try and get more feedback from our English-speaking regions, and we hope that we can start to get more feedback and improve our process and maybe our different ties. I know that a lot of people are kind of worried about KR devs not caring about English region communities, but I believe that this could be a new start for us, and we can make it happen. Are you planning to make Johan, Priya, Dina viable in solos? Although it really pains us, but as we said, we're looking into more options for characters. We're trying to increase the character diversity, and although we will keep an eye on those, we'll see how it goes. You said that earlier, rooms. Okay, for normal games, will this mean that there will be 3 bots taking up of these spots if queues take too long? I've also noticed that there are a lot of bots in our English-speaking regions games, and that they're actually creating more bad than good. So that's also being discussed internally, and we will try and see how we can change that, whether it be removing bots from your matchmaking and just starting with lesser people, or other improvements that we can make regarding that. That's also on our radar too. How is the new UI redesign going? I hope it goes well. Will Cobalt Protocol have a normal selection mode in the future?
아마 만약에 그 커스텀 모드에는 추가될 수 있을 것 같아요. 근데 그 코발트 프로토콜 자체가 굉장히 라이트한 플레이를 지향하고 이제 저희가 언제나 게임을 만들 때 제일 중요하게 생각하는 게 리플레이어빌리티인데 얼마나 많이 이 모드를 반복해서 플레이를 해도 재밌는가라는 부분인데 지금 저희의 판단에는 코발트 프로토콜의 경우에는 세미 랜덤 픽이 좀 중요한 포인트라고 생각을 하고 있어서 메인 모드는 코발트의 메인 스트림은 세미 랜덤이라고 생각을 하고 있습니다.
So yeah, we may be adding a normal pick to custom modes, but we currently, as we see Cobalt Protocol right now, if we think about the replayability about Cobalt Protocol and all of the other elements that goes into gameplay, we do believe that the semi-random pick is the most suitable way for us now. We'll try and see how it goes, and we'll try and get our feedback on that. But yeah, our current plan is maybe in customs, not sure for just normal matchmaking. Low spec mode when? As we said in the optimization part, we will be trying to include advanced options for Eternal Return, and we hope that would help as well. Is there plans to standardize a mode to focus the player base? Also, as we said before, we are going to be focusing on all 3 modes. All 3 modes have different characteristics at this point. So in season 6, we'll try and see how we can balance our resources throughout those 3 modes. We'll see how it goes. And maybe we can give an update on that on our season 7 dev stream. Season 6 dev stream. Okay, I'll take 2 more questions and we can end. I'm sorry. Will there be updates to the tutorial regarding these new features?
한국에서 진행했던 지난 데브 스트림에서 이번 말고 지난 데브 스트림에서 튜토리얼에 대해서 좀 풀 리포팅을 한번 했었는데 튜토리얼의 경우는 길어지면 튜토리얼의 양이 많아지면은 튜토리얼에서 게임을 포기하는 비율이 기하급수적으로 늘어납니다. 그래서 튜토리얼을 늘리지 않는 게 저희에게 매우 중요한 부분이어서 더 새로운 내용이 들어가려면 뭔가가 좀 빠져야 되는 부분들이 있고 튜토리얼이 아닌 부분들, 보완하는 부분들, 원페이지 팁이나 이제 그런 그 게임 내에서 정보들을 좀 찾아볼 수 있는 게임 룰들을 찾아볼 수 있는 그 페이지들이나 이런 부분들을 많이 추가하려고 하고 있습니다.
So basically, if a tutorial becomes too long, players may drop out in the middle of the tutorial. So we don't want to make the tutorial too long. So currently, we'll try and use other methods, such as like we have our beginner guides from our lovely partners and creators. We'll try and utilize homepage tips as well. So we'll try and work our ways to provide more information to our new players as well. The tutorial, we'll see what we can do. Making the tutorial longer doesn't seem like the case for now, but yeah, it's always on our radar, so we'll look on to it. Okay, last question, boys. Can we have a system to see how many people are queuing up? Yes, the system is being prepared, as said previously. We don't know when exactly it will hit live, but yes, that is already inside. That is already being developed. When will highlighting loot distributions come back?
지금은 그 기능이 거의 좀 필요 없어졌다라고 생각을 하고 있고요. 그 제로 증가 패치 이후로 더 이상 이제 그런 루트를 좀 따라가지 않더라도 거의 이제 이 문제가 생기는 경우가 없고, 이번에 또 원격 전송 드론이 들어가면서 트랜스퍼 드론이 또 그런 부분을 더 보완해 줄 수 있어서 그 반짝거리는 부분은 계속 좀 최적화에 문제가 되는 부분이어서 지금은 좀 필요성이 낮아졌다고 생각하고 있습니다.
With the increase of the material patch, with the increase of materials patch, and with the addition of our new transfer drones, we believe that it became much more easier to farm up for new players as well. And the blinking part for the loot distribution also caused a lot of optimization issues for our game. You may remember it causing a kind of game-breaking bug when it was first introduced. So it would require us a lot of resources to put in, but at the same time, we believe that the early phase, as you said, our early phase of the game has become much more easier. So yeah, we'll try and see how transfer drones go, and if the feedback is good, maybe we can keep it like this. Yes. Okay, I'm sorry to cut off here, but I think that's all of our time for today. We thank so much for everyone coming into this dev stream. It was my first time doing a broadcast of any kind, and I think it went pretty well. So I hope you're all satisfied with what contents you heard today, and I hope you got a lot of insight about our balancing, our development pipelines, the stuff we're preparing, and I hope you're all very hyped up for Season 6. Our Season 6 passes, our Season 6 season packs. Hope you all buy those too. And I want to do a quick shout out to our tournaments coming up. We have our Season End Cup coming up with our NA finalists and EU finalists coming on Nimble Neuron. We also have ERM coming up too. Maybe it's starting today, featuring our lovable Lee Dai Lin main, Twitch El Nero TTV. So make sure to go there and cheer for him as well. We also have an official English broadcast, so keep an eye on that as well. So thank you so much for being here today, and we hope to see you on the next dev stream. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Just before we go, we'll show off some new merch.
Not
new merch, our original merch. Okay, here is our boar doll, and we have our Wilson stress ball as well. Yeah, and we have our Naja mug cup as well. So if Homecoming wants your boar doll, you can come here right now and I can give you this one. Okay? Okay. So these are our goods from our last secret shop, and this one's gonna be more spicy. So we hope that you all go up and buy our merch too. Buy the merch, buy the season pack, buy the season pass, buy everything so I can pay my bills. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining our dev stream today, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.